What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show Recap with Mo. Well, we're getting ready to get into a brand new episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 4, episode number 20, titled Lamb to the Slaughter. Now, the synopsis for this episode states, Zane and Lacey must go against their morals for the greater good. Dikahn is outsmarted when he turns to River for assistance. And last but not least, Joan panics that the highest has uncovered her secret. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and kick this thing off, right? Now, I ain't even gonna hold y'all. All right, for me, this episode was a 10 out of 10, and I'm going to tell you why. So just go ahead and sit back and kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Party on down to the escape beat. Just kick it. Just kick it. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. You see what I'm saying? Listen, and what I'm talking about when I'm saying escape, I'm not talking about what we know as escape with the X in the front. I'm talking about the escape with the ESCAPE, because every daggone body in this episode right here was trying to escape some type of way. Even the ones that were locked up in the daggone jailhouse, they were trying to get out as well. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But we're going to go ahead and kick this episode off with my boy Dikahn. Dikahn is coming up out of the punishment trailer. Now, in the previous episode, the highest had asked him to go over there and check on the special guest because he had given him some of that good. All right, so he wanted to see how did he turn out. Is he still, is he still in the land of the living or whatnot? And if he is, then we're on to some great things to come, right? So if you know, you know. So moving on from there, when Dikahn comes out of the trailer or whatnot, he sees George passing through. So he calls George over there and he wants to find out some answers on these missing prisoners or whatnot. So he was like, look, man, we got a problem. George is like, what do you mean, sir? And he be killing me when you be saying that, sir. Knowing exactly what he meant. So he was like, what do you mean, sir? And he was like, look, man, where's Lewis? So he don't even want to talk to George right now. He wants to speak directly to Lewis. So George calls him on his walkie-talkie, and Lewis is on his way over, and shortly after he's there. Dikahn wants to know, where in the hell are the prisoners? Now Lewis sitting up here like he don't know nothing as well. What? You mean they not in here? What? When that happened? So my thing is, I think that Dikahn is going to eventually start to figure out some things. And I mean, maybe not right now, but eventually he's going to start to look at people differently. I mean, the way that George was acting, the way that he was responding, like, I got you, man. Like, whatever you need, I'm here for you. I'm supportive and all of this good stuff, right? And I'm trying to take all of this off of you to make your life easier because we see you going through all of this and all of that, kissing and all that. You see what I'm saying? So eventually it's going to show up. And the next part in this scene was really telling for me because when he was asking Lewis to go get some men together and go out there and search for him, he was like, no, Lewis can stay here and I can do it myself. I can actually go out there and track down Malcolm myself. You don't have to worry about it. He can stay here just in case they still at the compound. And of course, Dikahn is like, okay, well, are you sure? He was like, yeah. So the way that he was looking at him made me think that, okay, what is Dikahn thinking? Because I'm always wondering, what the heck is Dikahn thinking, right? So going on from there, they go on to tell him, like, there was a vehicle in the forest that they found, but don't worry about it because we stripped it down, so can't nobody go nowhere. And we saw that in like 2 episodes ago where Malcolm was running towards the vehicle, and when he got there, the wheels were off the car and everything was stripped down. So we saw that in person. And then the whole situation about the bear traps being all around the vehicle, we'll talk about that later when we get to that point. But I just thought all of that was interesting, how they never conveyed any of this information to Dikahn. And Dikah's first question is, why didn't y'all relay this information to me? And that's the thing that's going to cause him to distrust these individuals. There is nobody on this daggone compound that I would trust ever in life. Ever. Not even not an inkling of trust. Like, let's move on, man, because it's getting crazy. So going on from there, we head over to the kitchen where we see both Zane and Laura. Now, they are both freaking out because of what just happened in the previous episode where the elder mother had just gotten intel on Ruth, all right? And so she thought that she could put a nail in her coffin with the information that Bridget was conveying to her. So, of course, when she got that information, she ran with it and said, let's go ahead and go talk to the highest. So, they're freaking out about it. Laura's like, look, we definitely need to tell Ruth about what was just told to the elder mother. And Zane agrees. So since we're talking about Ruth, in the next scene, we see Ruth and Lacey. Now, Ruth is standing there talking. Lacey is standing there working. And she working her ass off, right? And she's sitting up here talking about, like, look, I can't take it no more. They sitting up here working me like a slave. I'm sorry, indentured servant. That's what we call it now, right? We volunteered for it. But anyhow, moving on from there, she says she can't take it anymore. She can't take it. And Ruth is like, I agree with you. And we're going to work this out. And after hearing that, Lacey says, look, I need to apologize to you, Ruth. And Ruth is like, what for? She was like, well, I said a lot of bad things about you, in a punishment trailer or whatnot. I just need to apologize. And I hope that you can accept my apology. And of course, Ruth is standing there like, girl, I got you. Like, we're good. We just need to focus on getting ourselves up out of here. Like, you got me, I got y'all. All of a sudden, right? So Lacey goes on to talk about how bad the elder mother has been to her and all of this good stuff. And then Ruth is like, girl, she tried to poison me. Lacey's like, what? Yeah, girl, she tried to poison me, gave me a sandwich. And I told her that I took the sandwich over there to the hog and the hog got sick. And possibly died, right? And Lacey's like, what, for real? She was like, yeah. And she was like, do you think she's on to you? She was like, I don't know, but I'm definitely watching her, right? So, and that's my Ruth voice. So going on from there, though, they're talking about working as a team, working as a squad, which I feel real good right now about Ruth and the Lacey squad, right? But we already know that everybody's lying to every damn body. I don't believe Lacey. I don't believe Zane. I trust Zane a little bit more than I trust the rest of them. But anyhow, going on from there, while Ruth and Lacey are still having their little conversation and whatnot, here comes Zane. Now, Zane is running over there to tell Ruth about what just happened in the kitchen between the elder mother and Bridget. Like, Bridget has already broken down everything. She's squealing like a pig right now, no pun intended. But she's letting it all loose, and they're actually on their way to go see the highest. Now, of course, Ruth is feeling some type of way about this. She was like, oh, man, that chick over there. And not in those words, right? Fill in the blanks. So she tells them that she's going to take care of it, and she walks off. And, Zane and Lacey are standing there like, this isn't good. No, it's not good at all, girl. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So Lacey's like, hold on, wait a minute. I got a plan. Just hold on. And then she's like, follow me. So from there, we head over to the highest trailer, to the outside of it anyhow. And we see Ruth is standing there, watching from afar as the older mother and Bridget approach, the highest trailer. Now, here comes Lewis to, see what's going on. She tells him, you see your girl over there? Once again, not in those words. He's like, man, what is she doing? She was like, what do you think she's doing? She's going to tell the highest everything. He was like, no, she ain't. She was like, yes, she is. He was like, oh, daggone. He was like, come on, Ruth. I know you got a plan. She was like, no, I don't have anything in my mind right now. Like, she's nervous as hell herself because she doesn't know what Bridget is going to tell the highest. Is she going to dime everybody out or just her? So she could be the only one in the daggone punishment trailer because she was the only one in there doing the daggone beating. So anyhow, that almost made me think about, there's a beating in my bedroom. I said, oh my God. Anyhow, moving on from there, man. Y'all don't make me lose my track. Y'all blaming y'all for it. Daggone it. Yeah, let me see. Where was I? Tell me. Scream it out to me. Oh yeah, that's it. From there, we see Zane and Lacey, right? So they're taking things into their own hands, to make sure that everything goes well and good for Ruth. So Lacey goes to locate the pig that Ruth was talking about at the well. And then when Lacey finally catches the pig, she handles the pig. You know what I'm saying? She breaks the pig's neck or whatnot. And then she tells Zane to go tell the elder mother that the pig is dead. Now, if you recall in the story, that was the whole situation, that the pig had eaten the sandwich and she had conveyed that information to the elder mother. So I was wondering, like, how the hell is this going to work? But I was like, that's smart as hell, right? So going on from there, we head back over to the highest trailer where we see Dikahn is now approaching to see, Manny going back and forth with the elder mother. And Dikahn is like, what are you doing, old woman? He likes to call her the old woman, right? And the elder mother is like, I need to speak to the highest, all right? And Dikahn tells her that he's preparing for a prophecy. And he was like, when he's trying to plan out a prophecy, he doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. She was like, I still need to see him. All right, I still need to see him. And Dikahn is like, what do you want? All right. So while they're in there back and forth, now here comes Zane. Zane is there talking about, look, the pig is dead. Now, initially, the elder mother was telling her to go about her way. Not right now. I'm trying to get to the highest. But when Zane dropped that dime talking about the pig is dead, the pig is gone. The pig is gone away. Y'all know I'm crazy. So the pig is gone. And of course, that struck a nerve with the elder mother, because the elder mother forgot every damn thing. She forgot what she was there for. And Ruth was standing there with her arms folded because she was going back and forth at one time as well. And when they mentioned that daggone PIG, everything fell. She was like, oh, she lied. Oh, she lied. She needs to go to the punishment trailer. And as a matter of fact, it was so hard on her when Dikahn was like, what are you doing, old woman, and all of this good stuff. She was like, oh, yes, brother. Yes, brother. Like, so anyhow, he walks off pissed off because he's already dealing with some stuff right now with the safe not working, not having the passcode, not having the Wi-Fi working for him. It's just been a bad day overall for him, and all the prisoners are gone. So yeah, it's a bad situation. But anyhow, though, this is when it starts to hit the fan, because this is when the tide starts to turn for Ruth, right? And the elder mother tells Bridget to go to the punishment trailer. Ruth is like, no, she's not. The elder mother is like, what do you say? Ruth is like, no, she's not going to the punishment trailer. As a matter of fact, send her over there to where Lacey is at the well. And the elder mother is like, well, why would I do that? And Ruth is like, because the pig is dead. And she said, oh, yeah, okay, well, maybe she can go to the kitchen. And she was like, no, she can't go to the kitchen either. So anyhow, Ruth is like, so you tried to unalive me, didn't you? The elder mother is like, no, I did not. She was like, yes, you did. The elder mother is like, no, I did not. I did not. And Ruth is like, okay, we'll see what the highest has to say about it. So Ruth is feeling really, really good right now because she feels like the power is within her hands at this moment, and she's loving it. But anyhow, back at the sheriff's office, since we're talking about power being taken, well, we see Sheriff Conley and Andrew having this little side conversation. And Sheriff Conley is like, look, should we just go ahead and tell everything we know? Andrew is like, well, you can do that, but I don't know a damn thing. He was like, oh, man, don't play like that. They pretty much know everything. Andrew is sitting here like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And as a matter of fact, you want to do that right here? Why they watching? Why they listening? He's like, oh, they pretty much know everything anyhow. He's like, look, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know. As a matter of fact, how did you get involved in all of this? Sheriff Conley goes on to tell him that, shit, I'm already dying anyway. Like, I already got diabetes. I got, I got high blood pressure and all of this stuff. And then I got the cancer. And he was like, damn, you got all of that? He was like, yeah, man, it's bad. And that was the only reason why I really got involved anyway, for the money. So Andrew is like, well, who offered you the money to begin with? He conveys to him that it was Dikahn. But, initially he stated no. But he was like, then he gave him an offer that he could not refuse. And he was like, well, what was that? He was like, he gave him some of that punang, right? And I was like, some of that brown sugar. He was like, yeah, that's what it was. So anyhow, when he started getting that brown sugar, every daggone thing changed, right? So he was like, to Andrew, he was like, have you ever, had a relationship with one of the ladies up there at the compound? And of course, Andrew's sitting up here lying his ass off talking about, no, man, no, I ain't never done that before. Now, we know Sister Tally, we knew Sister Tally. She's no longer with us, you know what I'm saying? She with the ancestors. But I'm just saying, we did know that you had a relationship with her and that she was pregnant, I believe. So I see what you're doing. Just keep up the good work, but you don't have to lie to kick it. You ain't got to lie to kick it. So going on from there, Sheriff Conley's like, look, I know one thing for sure, though. And he was like, what's that? He was like, it's not going to end well at all. And Andrew was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, they're going to go in there with guns a-blazing. And he was like, with all those innocent people off in there. And Andrew was like, yeah, you're right. So should we be doing something about that? Sheriff Conley's like, well, I really don't care what happens to those people off in there. Like, it's the end for me, so it might as well be the end for them as well. Now, Andrew was like, well, man, that ain't right. That ain't the cool thing to say. What about all those innocent people? As a matter of fact, what about all the children? And Sheriff Conley's like, yeah, you're right. Those innocent children, that's the only thing that's bothering me right now because they don't deserve that. And Andrew was like, you're absolutely right. So all of a sudden, Sheriff Conley stands up and he's requesting to go to the restroom. And he's yelling. Andrew was like, man, calm down. He was like, man, can I get some service off in here? So one of the agents come off in there. And he was like, what do you want? He's like, hey, man, I'm old, man. I need to go to the bathroom. He says, well, I'll bring you a cup back here. He was like, look, man, whatever I got to do can't go in no cup. So you need to go ahead and take me up out of here. So he takes him out in handcuffs or whatnot. He's trying to, I don't know what he's really trying to do. I guess we'll find out in the next episode. But for some reason, he's able to get up out, and Andrew is still in the cell by himself, right? So going on from there, we head back over to the compound where we now see Zane and Lacey going in on Bridget because, Ruth told her to go over there to the well where Lacey was. Now, Zane is like, what in the heck were you doing? Like, what were you thinking of? Here Bridget go, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, daggone it, is there anything else you could say, Bridget, outside of being sorry? Daggone it, something else. Say something else. Just say something else, right? And, Lacey sends her on about her way. Like, she tells her, look, you know what I'm saying, to go on about your business because I don't even want to see your face right now. You could have messed this whole thing up for everybody on the compound that were trying to escape. But you were only thinking about yourself and you sit up here talking about, I'm sorry. Man, we don't want to hear that. Get your... So going on from there, now we see Ruth coming over there and Zane tells her what Lacey did. Ruth is super, super hype about what went down. She was like, that was good. Ruth tells Lacey that, look, right now, we good because right now we got the elder mother's tail feather shaking right now. She's shaking him up. So, whatever you did, I'm so very appreciative of that. But not only that, I want you to go ahead and take off that red robe, put on that purple robe, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to try to get you up out of these chains. I'm going to go get that key, and we're going to take care of you because you took care of me. Like I stated before, we're taking care of each other and watching each other's backs. So I was like, okay, maybe, maybe, just maybe, because I've always been, like, Ruth ain't for nobody but her daggone self, but maybe she will utilize these people in a good way. All of them can get out at the same time, but she's still going to rob them. You know what I'm saying? Either way, she's going to get them out. They're going to escape. They just not all going to escape the same manner, right? So going on from there, we head over to the finance trailer where we see Joan and River. Now, River is coming over to check in on Joan. All right, because he's already had a side conversation with, Ruth. So he already knows a little bit of the intel about what's going on, but he doesn't know everything. So now he's coming over to Joan to see her side or hear her side of the story, right? So, she was like, why are you here? You shouldn't even be here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. He was like, look, I'm just checking in on you, and I just want to hear your side of the story. Well, she goes on in and she tells him about, the banking situation and, the account that she had $1 million in it, and he was sitting there like chuckling or whatnot. And she was like, what is it? He was like, why did you do that? That was so dumb. And she was like, oh, so Ruth never told you what went down for real? He was like, no, absolutely she didn't. But you just told me. And she was like, here I go again, putting my foot in my mouth, telling my own business, right? So he was like, okay, maybe it's not the end. She was like, what do you mean? Like, Dikahn has the hotspot, and when he gets on that daggone computer, he's going to be able to pull up to find out who the members or who are the originators of that account, and I had placed that account in my business name. So all of that is going to fall under me. Now, the one thing that she's forgetting to mention, and I'm saying forgetting, but we already know why she's omitting it, is the fact that Laura is also one of those individuals on the account. So I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for that stuff right there to spill out, because I want to see how the compound responds on that thing, right? And I want to also see how Aaron responds, because right now he's steadily talking about saving his wife. But if he knew his wife was up to no good, would he really be risking it all for a woman who had all of this set up to begin with? And since we're talking about risking it all, let's head back over to the sheriff's office, where we see Cal and Denise sitting here talking to Aaron. Now they're asking Aaron, about the locations of the prisoners on the compound. They're showing him pictures of agents. And Desiree is like, did you see this man? And she's showing a picture of Brian and his wife. Then she shows a picture of Malcolm. And then she also shows a picture of Andrew as well. And when he sees the picture of Andrew, he was like, yeah, he was up there. He was in chains. So not only was he up there, but he was bound. So the look on her face told me a lot without saying a lot. Because now she has to think, is he actually on their side or not? Why was he in chains? So if she's really a great agent, if she's really a good guy, she's going to have to ask those questions, definitely with this information coming from Aaron himself, right? So from there, she and Cal have this little side conversation, and, he's like, what do you think? She was like, well, we definitely have some work to do. We're still waiting on the warrant. And of course she had conveyed to Aaron that, the task force or the strike force was still an hour away. He was like, look, we don't really need all of that. We don't need a strike force. Like, we just need to go in there. And then of course Cal is like, look, maybe you can just call your father and maybe he could put a little fire to him, right? Get them to move a little bit quicker. And of course, Aaron is like, well, once he already knows that I'm good and my wife is the only one that's up there at the compound, he's not going to do a daggone thing, because he really didn't want us to get married to begin with. I was like, oh, we saw this coming. So maybe, just maybe, that's the reason why she out here getting this hustle on at the compound with her girlfriend, Miss Joan, right? So maybe that's the reason why she's doing it. Who really knows? But maybe she's just using this as a security blanket so she can have, some income on the side just in case things don't go well, right? So going on from there, we head back over to the compound, where we see now River approaching Dikahn, who's at his trailer. So when Dikahn sees him, he was like, oh, hell no. But River is there for a great reason, right? So, he's coming over to tell him that he has a background in IT, or in other words, he knows his way around computers. Dikahn is like, get away from me, boy, right? I don't want to have anything to do with you. And he was like, okay, well, have it your way. And then River starts to walk off. But before he can jettison, Dikahn is like, look, I need your help. I'm sorry. I need your help. I need to really figure out how to get into this safe, and I need your assistance on how to get, the passcode. So River's like, well, give me the computer. He was like, no, I'm not giving you the computer. You can just do it right here. And he's like, look, man, you can watch me do it. So River gets on his laptop and he starts to type in the numbers. And he was like, oh, here it is. Because initially he was saying this is obsolete. And then Dikahn is like, well, I know what obsolete means. But now with River being on the computer, he's able to locate what needs to be done. He tells him, like, the only way you can set it up or to reset the password is to have the original password. But if you do not have the original password, then you can send that request to them once you have it, and then they will email you the way to set up a new password. That's the problem. They do not have the old password because Manny has it, right? And the way he had that paper, I hope he don't allow it to slip out under while he's dealing with Dikahn this much. I just hope he done been off in the hiatus trailer. He done been over there. I mean, I just hope that's not the case, right? So going on from there, River's like, well, that's pretty much it. He was like, well, the only person that I know that could really assist you with all of this is Joan. Maybe I can go over there and, get her to come over here and help you. He was like, no, that's good. That's good. We're good. So he gets up and Dikahn is like, well, give me the laptop back. River's like, oh, of course. And then he stumbles and drops the laptop, breaks the screen so Dikahn can no longer read the screen. And I was like, okay, that's smart. So a lot of these people in this series, this episode right here, number 20, were good at their gift of gab. Like they were talking it up. Not only that, they were walking the walk, daggone it. They heard that pig situation, they got on it. They heard this laptop situation, they got on it. Like I said, everybody was getting to the good, all right? So going on from there, next we head back over to the police station where we see Andrew actually coming over here to speak to Aaron back in the back, which I was like, dang, like for real, he gonna bogart like that? Because Kyle had just conveyed to him, like when he asked could he go back there and talk to both men, Kyle had told him, like, allow us to do our job. You sit down, worry about that, and let us be the policeman, right? So, with him showing up to the back talking to Andrew about this whole situation, trying to get him to speak up about what he knows and all of this good stuff, Andrew was like, why would I do that? Like, do you see where I am right now? They got me locked up because they think I'm part of this conspiracy as well. And he was like, well, I mean, I thought you were a good guy. He was like, I am an agent. But they got me locked up like I'm part of it. And he was like, well, just tell him what you know. He was like, why would I do that? All right. And, by that time he was trying to get him to talk. Here comes Kyle. Like, what the hell are you doing back here? Didn't I not tell you not to come back here? And Aaron is like, look, I was just trying to help and just trying to see if he could talk and tell something because my wife is up there, man. My wife is up there. And he was like, I don't care nothing about that. Bring So anyhow, going on from there, next we see River and Joan. So when he goes back over to see Joan, he tells her, like, long story short, you don't have nothing to worry about. She was like, what are you talking about? He was like, the laptop that Dikahn had, I broke that junk. She was like, for real? He was like, yeah, I broke it. So you no longer have to worry about seeing any numbers on the screen from Dikahn because Dikahn cannot do that right now. And Joan is like, well, of course, the only thing that I'm concerned about is that they can actually go out and purchase a new laptop today. And next thing you know, here I go again, in trouble. River's like, you don't even have to worry about that because by the time they decide to go get a new laptop, we'll be gone, all right? We'll be up out of this place. She was like, are you sure? He was like, yes. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about what you were talking about with that account. We can take the money here and we can use your account and we can split that junk down the middle. So once again, he's still trying to make a plan with somebody else when he already has a plan with Ruth. Ruth already has a plan with him, has a plan with Zane, has a plan with every daggone body on the compound that's trying to, once again, escape, right? So I'm like, daggone, everybody got a plan with somebody else outside of somebody else. So going on from there, we see Manny coming into the finance trailer looking specifically for Joan. And he was like, Joan, the highest wants to see you. So, of course, she's nervous as hell, y'all, because she don't know if they done pulled the figures already and are sitting over there looking at the documentation on it. She just don't know. But I was like, well, maybe he had a prophecy on it, and we found out that he was having some prophecies, going through his mind or whatnot. And he just so happened to have one where she kept coming up into his mind. So she comes over to his trailer and he was like, how are you doing? She was like, I'm doing good, your highest. And then he started going into his Mac mode almost where he was like, look, baby, I was really trying to put together my prophecy and I overheard you and Ruth, Elder Ruth, as a matter of fact, the woman that is carrying my one and only son, right? Pure bred from me, from my loins. From my loins. Man, I'm crazy. Anyhow, it is late, y'all. But what the highest is pretty much telling her, though, is for real. Like, I overheard your conversation and I actually saw it with my own 2 eyes and heard it with my own 2 good ears, right? I saw you out this window and I peeped it and I saw you and her going back and forth. What were y'all talking about? And so like, oh, your highest, we wasn't talking about anything. He was like, are you sure? He was like, this is your last daggone time that I'm going to give you the opportunity to be truthful because I do not like liars. And I'm sitting here like, what? I said, your whole daggone ministry is a lie. So I'm just saying, bro, you don't like you. So, he's telling her that he got Ruth on her way and all of this stuff. So pretty much that is the end of the episode. Joan is scared for her life at this point. She doesn't know if it's going to be a great situation or a bad situation. What she does know is that Ruth is on her way and the highest is not trusting her. The only thing that I feel that she got going for her right now is the fact that she was the one that assisted Ruth with that lie that she told with that Pepsi can, or what's it, a Coca-Cola can, that allowed her to pass that pregnancy test. That's the only thing that I believe that she has currently on Ruth at this moment when it comes down to the highest. So maybe, just maybe, that's what will save her. But until next time, I'll talk to y'all soon, man. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down. Thank you. If you made it to this point in this video, thank you so very much for watching. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.